Are we live? Yep, we're live. Okay. So, my name is Carlos Santana. I'm doing the CNCF chat loop back off today. So, I'm one of the CNCF ambassadors, and we are starting to have a cadence on every week having a new project to talk about. So I think I'm the first one of the CNCF ambassadors to do it. Hopefully, we'll have more folks doing it every week. This is a if you're joining, say hi in the chat. I think we are in LinkedIn and YouTube. So put maybe where you're from, where if you're watching live, and we'll see how many people are joining. So we're just getting started. And if you're watching the recording, hope you enjoy. So today we're going to see a CNCF project. It's called Armada. So I'll share my screen, and the way it goes is I'll go through together, learn about it. I don't know much about it. I was looking some YouTube conference talks from KubeCon, and I was reading on it a little bit. But the idea is for these episodes that Jeffrey have done it before is we just sit down with the terminal, the IDE, and we start hacking on the project and looking like at how to deploy it, what it is, how it works. And if people have questions or I have my own questions, we try to answer them together. And we have okay, so we have people joining already. I don't think I can click on the messages, Kathy, to display them, or that's only you. Okay, I think that's only you, or that I did it. I'm not sure. I think that's you. Okay, so let me share my screen. Yep, Kathy is here in the background helping me out. That's something I didn't test. If I can share my screen, so I'll do that in a second. So this is a laid back session. Will not go fast or anything like that. And I will share my screen, but I need to move out myself because it will be showing. There you go. Then we have. Let me see if it's working. Ah, that's me on the live. Don't look at that. So the project's called Armada Project. I usually for search things I do project GitHub, and if we search in here, a few things that I wanted to do. I also have the repo open, the GitHub repo for the project, and if you want to follow along, that's in CNCF, github.com, and we'll look for the CNCF. And we're keeping our notes in the CL /loopBackOff repo. And I have a pull request open for today, episode 12, and I'm going to reveal the project. So the thing is, I was telling someone, I didn't want to say what the project is. So if people are like just taking this hour live just to sit down and hack together, like we just figure out stuff together. So let's take a look. I have some notes already started. So today is, there's a clash and a chat back, May 9, and you can find the notes here. So if you're watching this recording, you can come here. And so far what I have is what is the project. Oh, the other thing is some folks give me the project name and sometimes I don't know what even it is. So I'm editing this live in here in my IDE, so I will do it here like Jeffrey does, take notes here. So Armada is a CNCF project. Also, we can see it in here, and is in Sandbox. I'll make this bigger so people can see. I'll make that big. A CNCF project is in Sandbox, and it says that it's a multi-cluster. Interesting. It says multi-cluster. Usually projects are not intended, but maybe this one is intended to be multi-cluster, or primary focus is multi-cluster. Batch queuing system for high throughput workloads on Kubernetes. Um, Also, another way that people can find, like, if something is a CNCF project at the sandbox level, or incubation, which should be these are the sandbox. These are the sandbox. But another way to fish for that answer is if you go to the landscape. There are a lot of people know it has all the projects, but not all the CNCF projects. It's like massive. You can filter it and say, show me only the CNCF projects. Um, that way you get a smaller list. So these are the actual CNCF projects. A lot of people get confused about the CNCF landscape and the CNCF project. So this is the list of CNCF projects. And then we can search for Armada. And it will show up. And in here, you can see some of the stats of the project. At the top, you can see that it's a sandbox. So the 3 levels of CNCF project is you start with the sandbox, very low barrier to entry, certain requirements, but pretty much every project gets accepted if they follow like simple criteria things for CNCF. Then incubation, and then graduation. Like graduation will be like a project like Argo CD or Kubernetes. Some stats around the language they use is Go. Probably is because it's Kubernetes controllers, and they have some TypeScript, and actually C#. Interesting. It was donated. Does it say who donated this? I think it's a company called G Research. Um, and this is how you find out more about the project. So let's jump into the GitHub repo. And in the GitHub repo, let's learn more about it. So I think we can take some notes here. Oh, I forgot about the news. I can talk about the news. Maybe one thing that is happening is we are celebrating, CNCF is celebrating 10 years of Kubernetes, and there will be events around the world around June, in that week or a little bit after, June 6th. So I'm trying to also coordinate a local event here. I'm located in North Carolina, in Raleigh, North Carolina. So there's a blog post. I'll put the link later. I think that's pretty much the news. And maybe if you are also thinking of applying to KubeCon US NA is in the US, and CFP is open. If you want to talk in KubeCon, you can submit your talks. I think it's until June 6th. I can add the link later there. I think those are the 2 news. For the project, I think the answer is yes. The main website is this. CNCF is in Sandbox. It's a Sandbox project. It'll be good to know if they're like already working on the incubation submission. It was accepted in 2022. So since 2022, Sandbox. I think we have some messages here. Negada. So we have in the chat, Dijan. I think he's a committer, a maintainer. And he said that they have a booth, and if people want to learn more about Armada, they can go at KubeCon. It's in Salt Lake City, and that's in November. So if people didn't know, this is NA is happening in November 2024 in Salt Lake City. What else? What is it? Let me see what Armada is. So Armada looks like it's a system built on top of Kubernetes running batch workloads with Armada as a middleware for batch. Kubernetes can be common on substrates of batch. So it's like a batch. It's batch. I don't think it's service. I think it's batch. It's a batch processing, like queuing. So you have a lot of I'm guessing like you have a lot of jobs, I guess batch and jobs that you want to orchestrate or run like a large number of jobs, like usually useful for scientific machine learning, like those type of things where scientists will like spawn up a bunch of jobs, in this case Kubernetes pods, that will do some calculations, and then the results will be stored and then gather. So to track, like launch the jobs, what to run, those are like software. There's multiple softwares around that, and doing it on top of Kubernetes, then you leverage everything that is available in Kubernetes. It's your programming model for this type of infrastructure. So it's used in production. It looks like people are using it in production, so that's a good sign. Run millions of jobs per day and 10,000s and 10 of thousands of nodes. So I think that's a good description. So I think we know what that is. So we'll put that in here. But why? Let me see why we want to. I think already know why this type of things are useful, like a scheduler, like schedule those jobs and provide a way of like maybe multiple pods that are different, doing things differently, like two pods scheduled to run at the same time, and then having fairness for these queues. So that's something very useful in terms of like doing research or like map reduce type of jobs. Um, and it looks like it addresses some limitations of Kubernetes. Let's see the limitation. Scaling a single Kubernetes clusters beyond a certain size is challenging. So that's where the multi-cluster aspect comes into it. So it looks like this software is a way of like distributing the jobs. Like if you have 100 jobs, basically you can give it to the system. Say like, I need 100 jobs to be run, and then maybe they don't fit in your Kubernetes cluster. Maybe you don't have enough nodes or etcd or something at scale. It says millions of jobs. So let's say you have millions of jobs and you want to do create them thousands per second at that scale. It looks like Armada can distribute the workloads across multiple clusters. So I think that's maybe the key aspect of it, and that's very useful. So I think that's the why. Well, with Kubernetes, you're in that programming model, you're constrained to one cluster. So let's see this the scaling. So this is an article not by them but OpenAI. OpenAI from 2021. So scaling Kubernetes to 7,500 nodes, and then the challenges of scaling a single cluster or control plane to that. And it depends also if you're running a managed Kubernetes service. I can disclose that I work for AWS. I'm an EKS specialist, I say. So I'm an expert on EKS, and we can scale that at this. But a lot of people use Kubernetes in production, so that's challenging. So that has their own challenges. Um, and then having multiple clusters also is a good strategic, right? You map reduce the number of clusters, and then you distribute the workload. And it also could also help having multiple clusters. Also help with like if you have like services in a certain region, or the number of GPUs are not available in one region or another region, or a data center, not the other data center, like you have data centers around in different parts of the world, and you're a company, then you want to utilize all those machines and GPUs, so you have multiple clusters everywhere, and then like you want to send the jobs to be executed, distributed. So I think it's a good problem. So I think that's the why that Armada does that, and Kubernetes, just for a Kubernetes job or cron job, that API alone cannot do it. So this is a middleware or orchestration on top of it. Achieve highly throughput using the in-cluster storage backend. etcd is challenging. Yes, it has its challenge. I think there's another article talking about etcd. So this is from the etcd, and it talk etcd is a database that is using Kubernetes as it's a database of Kubernetes, the key value store. And it talks here about how it can scale, at what size, the number of objects that you can store. So it's not like the performance, but also the number of objects. So in this case, it talks about the number of keys, 100,000, and doing benchmarks. So if you want to go beyond that, I guess Armada also solves with that. And then the third one is the scheduler. It's not suitable for batch. Um, well, we have the job, maybe not batch. There's a Kubernetes upstream project called Batch also that people use. There's multiple projects actually now. That's a good thing that we have on top of Kubernetes. Like there should not be like one project to rule them all. Like for example, Cube Federation was one that was trying to do everything in one project, and then you get like the the, the common denominator is like too generic. So you cannot like achieve the goals that you want. So it says the scheduler instead of Armada includes a novel multi-cluster. Exactly. So it's something. It's a scheduler that is aware of multi-cluster scaling. And there's a SIG multi-cluster group if you want to learn about more about these different APIs and efforts. Um, Also, that's that project that you can join and learn more about like the aspects of dealing with fleet management or multi-cluster. Also, an area that I'm also working on my job. Um, so first, queuing and scheduling across multiple users, resource job base, reduce rate limits, uh, different types of algorithms for scheduling like GAN scheduling, automatic scheduling set of related jobs. So these are related jobs. Treat them as maybe as a workflow, and then jump preemption. Job both to run urgent jobs in timely fashion and to balance resource allocation between users. So if you have like multiple users or tenants sending jobs, then you want to qualify or categorize certain queues are more important than other ones. So maybe dynamically change the queuing. I don't know if it supports that or not. Interesting. And the other thing is Armada also provides features to help manage large compute cluster effectively, including detailed analytics exposed via Prometheus, showing how the system behaves. So, it's, well, I guess they have Prometheus metrics, and then you can use something like Prometheus or OpenTelemetry to gather that information. Automatically removing nodes exhibiting high failure rate for considering for scheduling. Oh, okay. So removing nodes, well, that's native to Kubernetes. I wonder what else they do on top of it. Because when the node health is, it depends on the failure. Like I say, if it's not affecting the kubelet, but maybe you have failures in terms of a common example is like sometimes working on GPUs, maybe the driver or something gets corrupted. So Kubernetes is thinking that it's healthy, but jobs should not go there. So I wonder if Armada uh, can detect those type of errors. And the mechanisms to earmark nodes for a particular set of jobs, but allowing them to be used for by other jobs when not used by the primary purpose. Okay, so maybe this is cool because in Kubernetes you either have taints that you don't allow certain things unless you have a toleration. You also have, I think, taints. That's it. And the other thing is affinity, anti-affinity. So more the workload decides where does it want to land, and that works with the kube scheduler. In this case, maybe they have a way of like marking the node of like I'm primarily being used for certain tasks, maybe to finance. But when I'm not used by finance, I can be used by another like scientific research, for example. So finance is more important when there's like jobs to be done. Maybe they're urgent, but if they're not used, then they get reused by something else. And this is something when very important when you're running on premise that you have like physical hardware that if you don't use it, you are still paying for it. Not like the cloud. Like if you're not using it, you just like delete the VMs and then you don't pay for it. So that's also to contrast with that. I think we answered a few things. The why has multiple things in here, but I think the summary is that um, addresses limitations of Kubernetes. We'll put that in here. Repo, I think we have it at the top. We have it at the top. Where do I have it? Project. Where's the repo? Repos here. Website. Does it have a website? Let's see. Let's look at the website. Slack. I think I saw a Slack channel. I think it's in CNCF Slack. That is Armada. Founders, I think they should put. There's a way to figure out this from DevStat. So what's the company behind it? But it would be good if they put like the companies or the main companies maintaining this project to see if it's one or more. I believe it's security. Oh, this is a crew. So this company, GROSS, that company or no? I think it's G Research, if not mistaken. The company, I saw a YouTube video. It was a YouTube video I was watching this morning just to what's finding in YouTube. I found this one. No, that's just me. I think I found a YouTube video. Where is it? I think I was looking in YouTube and I found one. But anyway, I'll post that later. Let's go to the website and let's get started. So talks, CNCF founders. I think it's a company called G-Search. Or if somebody from G-Search is on the website, you can put it. I think the founders at G-Search. Any comments, questions? People asking their friends. Yep. Am I sharing the correct website? Yes. And then the website is here. So let's get started with this. To do the design. Oh, here is the design. I was talking about the architecture. So Armada server is responsible for accepting jobs from users and deciding in what order. So I think that's the queuing. And on which Kubernetes clusters, if you have more than one, jobs should run. So it will distribute them. User submits the job from the API to Armada. So it looks like it talks to the Armada server, and it's a middleware. I wonder. So you submit the jobs for creating Kubernetes resources or talking to Armada server. We'll see in a minute. And then it has an events database, it has jobs database, so it needs to save that information. So I wonder, why does it need a separate database and not use etcd? Oh, I think maybe it was because of says something about the challenges of the number of scaling etcd. So that could be. And then that's, I guess, the blue box is a Kubernetes cluster. So you can have a Kubernetes cluster as a control plane. That's very common in terms of having Kubernetes to manage like workloads in other clusters. And then you have other clusters. The bottom ones are the executors. So you install the executor on the bottom part. That talks to the API server, I guess, to create the pod. And then you have a bunch of them. I guess they register back to the Armada server, like they join and they create kind of a cluster of like Armadas. Job leasing, to avoid job being lost in a cluster becomes unavailable. Each job is assigned an executor. And as I said, a timeout. Armada executor are required to check in the server regularly. So it's like a kubelet. It accepts the jobs that it needs to run. Executive responsible for running a particular job fails to check it within the timeout, the server. Oh, okay. So the Armada server is the orchestrator, kind of like Kubernetes is an orchestrator. So it's like kind of like doing the same things that Kubernetes is doing, but maybe just addressing some of the limitations they hit. And also the question is, maybe they design and created the system before Kubernetes has certain features, right? So a lot of open source projects are creating Kubernetes, and then you question like why they're doing it like that. Well, because they solved the problem when before Kubernetes solved the problem, right? And this is looks like this is how you, for example, a job Armada workflow: create a job specification with a Kubernetes pod spec, and then submit the job to one Armada's queues using the Armada CLI. So we need to install that, I guess, not kubectl, or maybe both. For example, this job sleeps for 60 seconds could be represented by the following YAML. So it has a queue, which all the jobs will be sent there. I guess you can have multiple queues, and I have like this queue is more important than that one, or maybe per tenant you create a queue. The job set ID, maybe this is a group of jobs, and then the jobs is an array. So this is priority 0. So I guess you can put a priority to one of the jobs, and then you have another array and you create jobs. And the jobs basically is a pod, and then this is just a normal pod spec. So I guess whatever you put here is what you can put in the pod, and then this one is a busy bug and sleep. So queue, which of the available jobs queues the job should be submitted. So I guess you need to create a queue and then send it to there. And then the job priority, lower values indicates high priority, yes. And then jobs with the same job set ID. Oh, the answer my question can be followed and canceled in a single operation. This is neat. So if you have a bunch of jobs created, because I think this is not the job. This is going to create like multiple of them, I think. And then you can like stop them. Interesting. Or is this the this also is an array. So maybe this is the one job, and then in here you will want to create one pod, and if you want another pod, you create another one. We'll play with that. And then job events. Job events generated whenever the state of the job changes. So I guess pod start like follow the pod life cycle, create it healthy, and then maybe complete it. And then when changes submitted to running from completed, I said. And it's a timestamp message containing event-specific information, exit code. So I think this is for monitoring all events generated by the jobs. And I guess those events are written to a database that we saw at the top. Same job are grouped together and published via Redis stream. So the remote clusters are like, I guess, connected to the Redis that is in the central cluster. I guess this is the events database. It's Redis. And there are unique streams to each job set to facilitate subscription only to events generated by job. Particular set can be done via Armada API. Armada records all events necessary to reconstruct the state of each job. So Armada, the APIs, the Armada server takes all these and then can see like what is the state of the job as completed and all the information retained. Let me see. There's a comment here. Armada was designed. I guess there's a DGen is on the chat. Armada was designed with massive scalability in mind and follows an event sourcing pattern. Instead of querying data, job status directly you subscribe to job set events. Exactly. That's how you can scale these type of things. Like same way people use event sourcing like Kafka and these type of things. You don't go and search for the information. You let all these massive amount of things just emit events and you collect them. So that's how you can scale to large numbers. Okay, so let's get installed. I think we have done there. We want to see it running. So I went to the user guide. It says I need to know Docker, Kubernetes, And here's an example I want to run. I can create a kind cluster, and there's a priority and job options. Let me see if there's instructions here for the Helm chart or an operator. So there's the Armada developer setup. I guess this is to contribute. I don't want to contribute. I just want to have a find the one-liner. It says production install. So maybe it has Helm here. Prerequisites, cert manager, Redis. I need to install Redis, install Nats. I wonder. So one piece of feedback is you need to have the getting started in like create a kind cluster and then install this Helm chart and then install these YAML files. And I think I was asking in the Armada Slack, and I think someone pinged me a link to do that, but I'm still, and then I need to install the Armada CTL. So because I'm be sending the information to there. So, and that's okay. I mean, if, I guess they would take the feedback and create the getting started. Uh, oh, there's a Helm install here. But I think someone told me that there's an operator. So I think this Helm install does install. Oh, here's a Armada Helm chart. But I think there's an operator. I think that's a somebody told me like operator might be the best option. I think Dijan can mention that in the chat. He gave me a different link, and he's working on a pull request. So hopefully it's better documentation. What else is here? Libraries. Here's the C# that was we saw earlier. Client can be accessed in this repo. So there's a .NET in here. And then there's the Docker Compose. I guess I can run. Wonder if that works. But I just want to install like a Helm chart. And to see there's an operator. But Jan sent me something. I think he told me there was an operator repo. With that operator. And he said that there was a PR being open, or maybe he merged it. I'm still like, that's the piece of feedback. I think I'll continue doing this, but that's for future next projects. Have a 5-minute setup on how to do this. Let me get the link from Slack. I think it was 1 second. Did Jan give me a link? This pull request. Oh, it got merged. Okay, so it got merged. So it's on the Armada operator, and in the README, there's install using Helm. So let's use Armada operator, and he says that's the best way to get started. So I have a kind cluster here. Kind get clusters. I have a kind cluster. Let me see if people can see this. Let me know in the chat if you can see what I'm doing here in the terminal. If not, I can make it bigger. If I make it too big, I will not be able to see anything. And then move this over here. So let's see. Start hacking right away. Yes, is what I wanted. Kind cluster. Control where I'm going to use the current context, keep config file, whatever is there. So if I do kubectl cluster, this is my kind cluster. This section assumes that you have kind installed. If you do not have, it says to do a make create dev cluster. I already have one created. I wonder what this make file do. So let me look at the make file. Maybe it has something special configuration. If not, I'll follow the instructions. Make. Where's the make file? Make file. And what was the command? It was make dev cluster. And yep, it creates namespaces. So I'll use this. I'll follow the instructions. And the config is hack can config.yaml. So they have a special config.yaml, or it's just overwritten. We'll follow the instructions. Let's follow the instructions. So let me delete my cluster. Or it creates a second cluster. Maybe that's what it does. It creates a second cluster with that name, and then configures the. Okay, so it's creating a cluster. Can clear just creates a cluster. Delete the cluster. And the name is cluster dev cluster, which is what? Armada operator dev. Okay. So create that. I'll delete this one so I don't get confused which one I'm working with. So delete cluster. I will clone the repo again, since this got merged. I have the Armada operator, so I move this one because I think this was and I will do git clone and then clone this repo. So I need to go to the repo and I have the Armada operator. Cool. And then I move inside. Nope, it was the Armada operator. And then follow instructions. So let me put that here. To get started with Armada, install the operator from these websites. And we'll do the make. See if it works. Yep, I have this. And then the Helm chart. So I like this. So the Helm chart. Oh, I'm running out. I'm running very late. I think my sessions should be 2 hours. But Kathy, I don't think will be here. Let me do 2 hours. I was going to go into the Helm chart and see what actually gets installed. But let's get a hello world. See if we can do it in 5 minutes. So kind cluster, create dev cluster. We're going to, that created 2 namespaces. So you can see here, create a namespace called data, a namespace called Armada. And then we'll add the Helm chart repo, normal things becoming our, and then we're going to install the Armada operator. So I'm happy to see that it has an operator. It looks like the other repo just installs the CRDs, or maybe the controllers. Maybe this is an installer, I'm guessing. It says it failed. Installation failed. Unable to build Kubernetes objects from release manifest. Resources not found. Armada operator cert. Namespace. No matches certificate. Cert manager. So this thing is creating cert manager CRDs, and there's no instruction here. Tell me cert manager. So I need to install cert manager. Nope, no cert manager. Let me see if there's a message from Legend. Says there's a dev run books which explains most common steps to run your first job. Does he have run books? Dependencies. Okay. Looks like I need to install more stuff, I guess. Create a namespace data. I have that. Helm repo. Here's cert. So I think I already have it. Yeah, I already have it. And then I want to install 113.1. I think cert manager is 1.14 already. So they should update this to the latest. But it should work. This is a normal thing to install cert manager. So we'll try again. Install cert manager, very common. And cert manager, if you don't know, a lot of people use it in their project. They use it as a dependency in the projects because it helps handling the certificates for the mutation or validation webhooks when you install a controller. So the Kube API server needs to talk to your controllers. It needs to be HTTPS and it needs to have good certificates, valid certificates. So Cert Manager is a project that automatically creates the certificates and automatically puts the CA bundle into the webhook definitions. I think that's it. And then installs Prometheus, Apache Pulsar, Dandy Dev. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's Redis. That Bitnami what Postgres, and then Nginx. It looks like some of this stuff should be in the, if it's required, it should be in the root. But anyway, this is a session for people to learn how to fish. So it says to install the operator. Oh, okay. So it says build and install from scratch. Run the following command to install Armada external dependencies, Apache Pulsar. So the things that were already there. So I will follow these instructions and then install this. So we'll follow these instructions. But in production, usually those dependencies you will have G-Research. It looks like it's the company. That's the name I was looking for. So we'll follow the instructions, but this step needs a cert manager. So they should have put here cert manager. We'll install it again. And it's installed. And what did it install? It didn't print. So if I do Helm templates, and I do the same command, I can see that what they install. I'm always like to see the YAML. I inspect it. Hopefully my text is not small. People want to see that YouTube, the service account, cluster roles. I wish that there's a Helm template that will split the files in per resource. But anyway, I think I'm not going to. Okay, so down here, cluster role. I think it's one deployment, I'm guessing. Kind deployment, yeah. One pod, but we can see in the terminal also. We can see kpod stash A. The thing with this thing is if I make it to it's running cert manager that I install, and I'm installing, yeah. So it's doing the Armada. Oh, we have already a problem. Image pullback off. So we have to debug this stuff. Describe pod-n Armada system, and the name of the pod. What's going on? So failed to pull image, GCR not found. Failed to resolve reference, kube builder. RBAC proxy 013 not found. And why would you ship RBAC kube proxy? Usually you don't need that. Kube proxy. Usually you remove that when you're writing an operator. You don't ship kube proxy because that does the authentication that you don't want. I don't know if Dijan is still in the stream and can help me out. Oh my god. Um so why do they have kube proxy? Is it cube RBAC proxy? Here it is. And this is a container where the deployment, let me make it a little bit bigger. It's a sidecard. And this version is not available. So that's the problem. It says not found. So let me do a Docker pull. Nope, not available. Latest. Nope, not available. Interesting. Interesting. It says, looks like that image isn't there yet. Can work without it. As Anthony DeSanti would say, perfection is when there's nothing more to be removed. It says it works by removing it. What does it mean that it's not there yet? I see. So I think it's a typo. V0.13.0. So it's a typo. It's a typo. It's V. It's okay. We can submit a PR. Yeah, it's a typo. So okay, edit, deployment, and if we're doing Argo CD, we just do the YAML anyway. Deployment -n Armada system, and then we'll go in here and then modify, put a V. Actually, this is a good thing. Like if people like to learn how to debug Kubernetes when stuff is not working, you can learn how to fish for the answer, right? I was able to like not found. We'll look for the registry and see. There's newer versions, but let's stick with this one. And we save it, and then we should see our pod coming up. So if we do clear, okay, is that font okay? Because I have a big monitor. Make it like that. Okay, get Armada system. Now it's running. See, everything's running. Hey, now I'm afraid to like install the rest and then trying to troubleshoot. Want to get Armada running. So this worked, and then it says to run this, which I don't know what it does, and then install this, which will install each CRD supported by the Armada operator. The CRD is already installed. I don't know what other CRD. Maybe it's meant CR on the cluster. Create a pod inside the kind cluster running the Armada operator controllers. I'm confused. We already did that. So this step doesn't do that. The previous step does that. And then you may need to wait for services like Pulsar. I don't know what Pulsar is. To finish coming up to proceed to the next step. Check the status of the cluster. So let me inspect it. I like to inspect it. So it says it's going to do make dev setup. if I go to the make file, look for that. Deploy to kind. Oh, was a make deploy to kind. Why didn't dev setup, Docker build, load image deploy? Deploy controller to the local. So this is more for development. I have something jumping in my thing. What I was doing, dev setup. Yeah, they should not. It should have an easy way for a user. I'm not trying to set up a development environment. Just trying to like do a hello world. Dev setup. It's going to do dev install Prometheus, Pulsar, Redis, Postgres, and then Cert Manager. But I already installed Cert Manager. Install Ingress controller, dev setup, webhooks TLS. What is this task? Make directory, and then it creates something. I don't know. I'll follow the instructions. So make dev setup. Let's see what happens. Let's go YOLO. He has to sleep. And installs a bunch of Helm charts. Which I think is good. I really like if I have to install like Pulsar, Prometheus, and Postgres the right way and the right version just to get something. So they're already handling here. That part I like. I like that part. Dev install, dev setup, dev install something, controller, Prometheus, install Pulsar. That is okay. Let's see. And then it says, then make dev install controller. But I already have it installed. Need to install it again? Confused. Dev install controller. Go release build load image deploy. I don't want to compile the code. Is it already installed? Load image. Yeah, it's going to build an image and then load it. But this is like from source. And then what is deploy? But I already deploy it. I already deploy this thing. Deploy. Yeah, these are the typical. This is a typical make file from KubeBuilder when you use creating a controller. You configure. Should already be working, and then I'll skip this part because I think I have the controller running unless I have the run thing. I'm not sure. Let me skip that step. So I don't want to build this thing. I just deploy the Helm chart. Dev install controller. You may need to wait a few seconds for Pulsar. So let's check. Pulsar is running. And then finally apply the CRDs. But I already deployed the Helm chart. I'm very confused. Make install. This makes sense. Testing. And then I need to install the CRDs. Oh my God. Guys. Kidding me. The CRDs are already installed. Why do I need to install them again? Where is that folder? Quickstar, dev, quickstar, dev. There's a quickstar here. So readme, create a namespace, Pulsar. Okay, I already did that. And there's a quickstar here. I think I did that. Nginx control, I did that. Prometheus, I did that. Symmetrics, the operator. Deploy, I manage Armada components. Run the following commands to install the Armada operator, which I think I already did. We are using the Armada operator to deploy Armada components. We will install Armada components by creating required CRDs. I think it's a problem with CRD is a definition. CR is a custom resource. So I already have CRDs. Let me try to explain this to folks. Sometimes it's confusing. If I understand correctly. So there's CRDs in here. And some of them are for Armada. So if I run this command again, and I filter for Armada, get CRDs, grep for Armada, I have these things that are the CRDs. I can create an Armada server, a binocular event ingester, executor. So I don't have any of these things, an instance of these CRDs. I don't have a custom resource. So this step, I think, is now the operator is installed, and now I can create an Armada, this type of Armada server, for example. So it helps for installations. And I can have, if they're namespace, I can have multiple installations of it. So I can have multiple, like for testing and things like that. So I bet what is these Armada CRDs are CRs. Yes, these are CRs, not CRDs. So I'm going to create. So I think I'm ready to deploy Armada server. So I'm going to create one in the namespace Armada, go Armada server, Pulsar init, it says false, ingress in Nginx, which we install. Let's encrypt -dev, which we install cert manager. Oh no, we install cert manager, yes. Host name is something generic. Well, it says Armada Project.io, so I don't think I'm going to get that. Let's encrypt. Anyway, maybe we don't need it. Replicas 1, the repository, and then this version. But I think this version is old because Armada is on version 0.4. So we'll get it running with 3, but the latest version is 4. Version 3, the last version 3 was released, I think, last year. So I think these docs need to be updated. So we'll update it to see what breaks. Well, it's 4. Maybe everything breaks. Anonymous authentication. So I don't have to log in. How to connect to the Postgres database. It's interesting because the password, I don't know if it's PSW, Pulsar, and then Redis. Do I have a database running in the data namespace? And that's the password. Let me check. Okay, get pods -n data. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff in here. And one of them is Postgres. Okay, so yeah. And what is the password? So if I do edit pod-n data Postgres, I bet there's an environment variable with the password here. And it says Vietnamese Postgres passwords from a volume. And that volume is, where is it? Where's the volume? The password comes from, I bet it's a secret. Comes from, value from secret. So it's this secret. Yeah, I double check if that's correct. So, get secret -n data Postgres -o YAML. And the password is this guy. So if we do base 64, echo namespace 64-D is PSW. Okay, so I think that's correct. Pulsar and Redis is running, and then I'm going to create an executor. And I think this executor is going to run the same kind cluster, but this executor can be installed in a separate cluster. And then that from that second cluster can connect to the where you have the Armada server API. So the same way, it's going to deploy this image, which is old, and it's going to connect to the Armada server, which is running in this cluster on the Armada namespace. So that's already running. So if we do kget pod/et armada, oh no, this is the operator. So the first part is going to create this service, and Armada server matches this name, and the port 55 something, I guess, is the default. And then something called lookout, which I don't know what it is. Maybe lookout, maybe say look you. Oh, UI. Okay, so it's a like a dashboard UI. Oh, this thing comes with a UI. Very cool. Ingester. So I think maybe this is a part of the one that gets the events. But no, but it then puts this stuff into Postgres. And then the scheduler. So there's a component called Armada scheduler. And then a scheduler ingester. I guess this one gets jobs to be submitted. An event ingester. This one gets, this is from Redis. So this one is reading from Redis. I don't know what Pulsar is. What is Pulsar? Kubernetes? Apache Pulsar. Run on Pulsar. I guess this is the thing. Distributed messaging and stream. Ah, okay. So it's like NATs. Does this Armada support NATs? I guess this thing works with NATs also. Okay, so Pulsar or NATs. Streaming. It's for streaming that messages and events. Okay, cool. Where we were? Oh, to create all these things. Oh, Dijan says, Pulsar is the heart of the event sourcing architecture. All components read from the event log and then use various databases for performance improvements. Each component could only read the Pulsar log, but that is a costly operation. Ah, I see. So it's using the databases, Redis and Postgres. I wonder why one versus the other are, well, it depends. If you're storing relational data, it will be Postgres. If it's like stream, because they're using Redis stream, that's streaming versus key value. So let's get something deployed. I think I ran out of time. Kathy, let me know if you need to stop, or I can just continue maybe for 10 minutes by myself, which I'm okay. You can continue. Okay, I got permission from the CNCF authority behind the curtain in 10 minutes. So let's follow the instructions. Okay, so, and I cannot run this because I don't have, this environment variable is not set. So this should be updated. I bet if I run it, it will give me an error. Yep, it says it's not found. So it should be kubectl apply. We can remove this portion. Yay! So we should be creating a server, executor, lookout. I think that's the UI. Dijan says that he appreciates. Thanks for pointing out. I don't know, Kathy, you can point that in the screen. Point out discrepancy with other art docs. We can safely assume any user would struggle at the same steps. And yeah, and this is not like a punch to Armada or anything. Most of the CNCF projects are like this, and it's a matter of like just having someone try it out and then do kind of like user experience. Um, so hopefully, talking to the CNCF, this type of streams will help the CNCF projects to understand like when they're the first time users of the well, someone wants to try your project, what is the level of knowledge they need, what are the knowledge no, level of knowledge you are assuming that they have, and then is it easy to just to like try it out the software like in 5 minutes to get something running to have interest to come back and learn more and have it in the website. That's something I can tell you my background. I learned from Knative. We created even a CLI called the Knative Quick Start, and we made it like a one command, and it did everything. Created the kind cluster, it deployed the software, and then basically you had a URL that you open or call, and then you have Knative working in 5 minutes. But it wasn't like that. Before that, it was taking users like an hour, 2 hour, and they were not able to run the software. So but we're making progress here. Everything should we should have objects now, and we should have a bunch of more pods running or not running. Some of them are pending, so it might be some of them are error. Some of them are crash loop back off. Yay! That's the name of the well, it's chat loop back off, but um, that's the name of the thing. Oh, I think Sir Manager has issues, so maybe that's why. Give me 1 second. I didn't check if so. There might be a problem. Maybe the CAN cluster wasn't created with enough memory CPU reserve, or maybe I have a small. I don't wonder what's going on. Let's debug. What should we debug? Or maybe this is fine. I see a cert manager webhook running already. And CA injector. But the manager has issues. There's a pending pod here for Pulsar. Which one we should debug first? Let's debug the crash loop back off. So we'll grab this. Logs -n cert manager. And the object has been modified. Please apply. Transition. It's a certificate is not owned by this object. Refusing to update non-owned. Is it running? Let's take a look. Get pods -n certificate manager. And it's one of the pods is failing. Okay, describe pod-add certificate manager 64. Failed container controller backup restarting. Why is it restarting? And there's two pods in here. I'm guessing cert manager controller and cert manager. And then this one is crashbook terminated, recent error. So it's the cert manager controller that has issues. So if you want to get the logs, like if I did get logs, and basically I think I got the logs from the first one that is okay. But if I want to get the logs of this one, I need to specify in kubectl logs that one. So if I do the same command again, -c, I have autocomplete. Oh no, I need to pass C and then specify the controller name. And there you go. That's the error. It says cert manager error executing command error. Failed to listen Prometheus on Prometheus address 00909402. Listen bind address already in use. Ah, cert manager Acme already in use. Failed to listen on this port because it's already in use. Um, why is it already in use? This thing should not be listening on the host port. It should be normal. It should not listen on host port. Or is it? Interesting. Okay, get pods dash n certificate manager 6 dash o YAML, or just let's do the edit. That's easier to get the information. Edit, and then let's see the port if it's using host port. If it's using host port means nope, it's not using host port 9402. It should be a normal pod 9402 to listen metrics. There's another there's two pods, there's two containers this pod. So the first one, let me see. First container is the controller, manager controller, port 9402. And then the second controller, the second pod, where's the second pod? Oh, it's an init controller? No, it should be two controllers. I thought there was two containers. Image. Cert manager. Let me make this smaller because I cannot see where oh, here it is. So this is one controller. It's the same image. I think it's running different flags. But this port is 9402. And the other one is also listening in 9402. So like, that's weird that cert manager is listening on the same port in two containers, which is not possible. Weird. Very weird. I never had this problem with cert manager before. And then there's two versions of it, 163 and 113. It might be the problem with the make. Huh. Let me see. If not, we'll follow the quick start instructions then. Delete everything. Because in this one, this is to install Pulsar. Cert manage Kubernetes add-on. Data, Armada, Pulsar, Redis, Postgres, Nginx, Prometheus, state metrics, and the operator. And then Armada components. So maybe we should do the quick start. Stuff is not happy. And the stuff that is pending. Why stuff is pending? So the other one is maybe cert manager is fine. I don't know. But the other one I'm worried about is these pending things. Bookie. Pending. Oh, this HI. Oh, maybe this could be the Redis one could be related to HA. If I do K describe pod dash n Redis data. It says 0 or 1 nodes are available. 1 node didn't match pod anti-affinity rule prevention. 0, 1 nodes are available. So this one is okay because it's an HA. And then the other one is Pulsar. So Pulsar is, so they should put here like how to create the kind cluster with more memory. Well, doesn't matter because I have enough memory in my thing. But let's check the Pulsar thing. Okay, describe pod dash n pulse data. It's not pending. It's Pulsar. 0, 1 nodes available. They match anti-affinity rules. Okay, so that's why. I don't think that's a problem. I can create a kind cluster with two. So it's not resources. So if I do describe node, I only have one node, and request and limits CPU. I have a memory. I have a bunch allocatable. I have 12 CPUs, and I have a bunch of memory. I think that's 8 gigs. I think that's the size of the Docker instance. If I go to Docker, go to dashboard. Yeah, it's this 8 gigs. I wonder if I need more memory. Request flag in the manifest. Okay, so I think there's something wrong with cert manager, and I need 2 clusters. So maybe I don't need 2 clusters, but cert manager is the thing that I'm confused. So I cannot what was the next step in the quick start? To test. I install the CRDs. Yeah, I deploy them in the namespace Armada. Armada. Yeah, they're there. I think that because they're specified Armada. Yeah, it's specified namespace. I don't need the namespace. And then let's see. I don't think this is going to work. Testing Armada. The first thing to create a priority class. So create a priority class, which is this. And then minimal setup. It says minimal setup Armada. You can only accept jobs would consist only Armada servers that are deployed in the same cluster. Run the following command to install the minimal setup. And the minimal setup is that saw another Armada server. You kidding me? An executor, but I already have that. So how do I test this? How do I run a job? Do I need to create a queue first? I think I need to create a queue. Because if I run a job, it says queue is not created. Queue. It's a job set. If I apply this, oh wait, this is not a CRD. So I need to send it to the Armada API. And to send it to the Armada API, I need to talk to the API. And I'm not going to use HTTP. I'm going to use the Armada CTL. So I think I downloaded the Armada CTL. Armada CTL and downloads. So let me move the downloads Armada. And I install Armada 0.4. I don't know if it's going to work. Local bin. And then Armada. Oh, wait. chmod plus x. The local bin Armada. Why Armada doesn't work? Yeah, I thought maybe. Anyway, let's move it to user local bin. Finally. Armada. Why not working? Armada CTL. Yeah, auto completion doesn't work. Create a queue. I want to create a queue. I think there was examples on how to run something simple. So it's not here. Example test. README. No. Examples. Armada operator. Notes. Nope. Docs. How do I do something quick? Runbooks. Armada CTL. Maybe so I solved the dependencies, the operator, the Armada, which we did, Armada CTL, we did a queue. Yeah, there you go. So let's create a queue. And it didn't work. This method providing details deprecated. You configure it's playing here. This method providing creating queue. A, failed to connect to API because failed to build resolver, pass through, receive empty value, empty target build. I don't know. I'm really lost. Um, create queue. Error creating queue. Failed to connect to API because. Do I need to specify? What do I need to specify? Job. I might submit a job, but if I cannot create it, something like simple like this, I think I saw in the other repo a dev container. Let me see if the container works. I think I saw something dev containers, and it says something about the CLI, setting up the CLI. And dev container should not be in a demo folder, it should be a dev container. I think there was a start.sh. No. And create queue, but it's not connecting. Watch test. Armada server API. Maybe we should try dev containers. Just want to test this. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting anywhere with the regular process. Docs readme, developer.md. Yeah, this Mage UI, I'm not going to try it because I saw there was a problem with ARM. It doesn't work on ARM machines. Something about releaser, Go releaser. So let's try devpod. I was getting far with this on devpod. So if I move to the other folder, Armada, and I run devpod up dash help, and I run with not with container path string dot dot dev containers dev container.json. Let's see if this works. And then hopefully I'm looking at this dev containers, which that's the best way to give someone a hello world is to run a dev container. But I tried a few minutes before, and the dev container, this is broken running locally with VS Code. So we'll see if we can get it up and running with devpod. So devpod is what I use for dev container, and it says it doesn't work because not such file or directory.
Unfortunately, we're at time, so maybe we can schedule another live stream with you, Carlos, to dive more into Armada if that works.
Yep.
But we thank everyone for joining us today. I'll let you kind of wrap it up real quick.
Yep. So I think we'll do a part two. Maybe the maintainers will reach out me. I can reach out to me in CNCF Slack and tell me what is the best process to get Armada running on a kind cluster. And then we can do a part two and then show it running. But until next time, I think we have another host next week. See you, folks.